Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, text number 5. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Pashyame Partha Rupani Shatasohat Sahasrasaha Nana Vidhani Divyani Nana Varna Kratini Cha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The Blessed Lord said, My dear Arjun, O son of Pratha, behold now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of varied divine forms, multicolored like the sea. So here we are reading this chapter, the universal form of the Lord, and we saw that in the previous verse, Arjuna requested Lord Sri Krishna. He said that if you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, then kindly show me that universal form. So Arjuna is requesting because in the 10th chapter, Krishna has explained the opulences and so many different items that he mentioned, almost like around 80 different things, and he says, This is me. So now, theory is one, but if you get to see the visuals, then it registered better. So here Arjuna is requesting the Lord, what you spoke, all your opulences, if you can show me that, and if you think that I'm able to behold that form, then please show me that. Right. So Prabhupada explains that uh, to it is not easy for one to see, to hear, to understand the Supreme Lord by your own abilities, as it is said in the scriptures. Atha Sri Krishna Namadi Nabhabhed Graham Indriyai. Krishna Namadi, Krishna's name, form, pastimes. One cannot understand Graham Indriyai by your own blind material senses. But there is a way. The way is Sevan Mukhe Jivado Swameva Spurtihada. When one start rendering the service and the devotional service one is engaged in, then Swameva Spurtihada. Everything will be revealed in the heart of a devotee. So Arjuna is also here he requested that can you please show me if you think that I can behold your form. So Arjuna understand that unless I receive Lord's grace, I will not be able to see or understand that form. So his requesting is not ordering him. He understands his inability to see that form, to understand that form. So that is why he is requesting that please reveal that. Right. So, and then Krishna, considering his request, he says, okay, now I'm going to show you that universal form. So he says, Pashyame Partha Rupani. O Partha, now you see, behold my Rupani, my opulences, Sataswata Sahasrasaha. And this form is hundreds and thousands of varied divine forms. Shahastra Rupani. So this universal form, there's so many forms are there in that one form itself. Nana Vidani Divyani Nana Varna Krati Nicha. You know. So this is the form that Arjuna is showing that. Prabhupada explains that first of all, we should understand that Arjuna is a devotee. Devotees generally they're not interested in seeing the form like this, like the universal form. Devotees are more interested in seeing the two-handed, all attractive Sham Sundar form of the Lord because they want to express their love. They want to render some seva to the Lord. So that seva can be rendered in that particular form of the Lord. To offer the seva to universal form is very difficult for a common man and for anyone for that matter. One time, you know, one person he was talking to Srila Prabhupada and he was appreciating. And then he just expressed his desire. What was there in his mind? He said that Swamiji, you have so many temples, beautiful, you know, Radha Krishna deities and like that. But you should also make a temple where you have Krishna's universal form. That is kind of a sentiment. Then Prabhupada says that yes, we can have that, but question is who will dress that universal form? What we should offer him for the bhoga? Universal form is like such a vast form it is. So it becomes very difficult for a devotee to express the love, to render the service to that kind of a form. So Arjuna personally is not interested in seeing this universal form, but still is asking that show me that form. Prabhupada explains why he's asking that he's not asking for himself, but he's asking for the people, those who think some ordinary person to be God, or sometimes they think themselves to be God. There's a lot of confusion on the name of God. You see, every now and then we keep hearing sometime some people they come, they claim that I am God, I'm incarnation of God. So all these kind of bogus claims. So Arjuna is asking that Krishna, you show me, and that will set a standard for anyone to claim that I am the God. Right. So in the future, to discredit this kind of imposters who claims to be God, you show me that form. And in the future, anybody comes and claims that I am the God, incarnation of God, then that question can be asked, if you are God, can you show me your universal form? Right. And that is the test. One should be able to show that form where everything, the entire creation is there. So Arjuna is not asking for himself, but is asking for a common man not to get misled by all this kind of uh, by all these imposters like that. Also, Prabhupada explains here that this form is, though it is a transcendental form, but this is the temporary form. It is there here only in this cosmic manifestation. This form is not there eternal in the spiritual world. So this is transcendental form, but this is also temporary form. So again, that is also another reason that devotees are not really interested in seeing that form, because this form does not exist in the spiritual world. It is just here in this material world. So this is the understanding about this form. Now here, Krishna is using the word as the Rupani. Rupani means this is like Rupa means the form, Rupani means forms. So that explains that the Supreme Lord has many, many forms, right? But also we understand from the scriptures that yes, Krishna has innumerable forms, but the origin of all the forms is the Krishna, the Shyam Sundar form of the Lord. So all other forms are subordinate to Krishna's two-handed form. So yes, there is Rupani, many, many forms, but everything is subordinate to Krishna's original form as two-handed Shyam Sundar, Vrindavan, Krishna, everything else is. So we see that absolute truth can be realized in different aspects. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti. Sabdhyate. So there is a Brahman feature of the Lord, there is a Paramatma feature of the Lord, and finally there is a Bhagavan feature of the Lord. So everything coming from Krishna, and this all Brahman and Paramatma, they're all subordinate to Krishna, and like that, many, many forms, including this universal form of the Lord, is subordinate to Krishna's form. So Krishna is the Govindam Adi Purusham. He is Sarva Karan Karanam. He is the original form. He is the source of even Narayan. He is the source of even Vishnu forms. Vishnu Stotrini Rupani Purushani Atho Viduhu. So it is said that these all the different types of Vishnu, different forms of Vishnus, uh, Karnadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Kshirodakshay Vishnu, all these are emanating from Krishna. So Krishna is the original uh, personality, Adi Purusham, and from him all these different forms are emanating, and innumerable forms are emanating, and this universal form is one of that form subordinate to Krishna's form. So devotees are always interested in, uh, you know, meditating on Krishna's form, two-handed form, and they are engaged in Machitta Madgata Prana Bodhiyantasya Parasparam. So devotees are always engaged in talking, discussing about that particular form of Krishna, Krishna Lila, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's Kirtan, and they're in rapt attention of hearing about Krishna. They're constantly their meditation is how we can serve Krishna, how we can please Krishna. So this is what is the devotional service, devotee state of consciousness, and that is why the devotee is not much interested in this universal form of the Lord, though it is transcendental form, but this is temporary. And also it is difficult for a devotee to express their love. So this is understanding. So here we see by this universal form, one can refute or one can, expose this false, bogus imposters who claims to be God. That's one. Also, many times people ask this question that people, you know, says that all these scriptures and all these descriptions in the scriptures, which is beyond the conception of a common man, like the kind of description we read about this universal form. It's very difficult for a common man to comprehend that how it is possible that somebody can have that kind of a form. So, something which doesn't fit in their logic within the tiny, intelligence they're not able to conceive, then they call it mythology. Oh, this is all mythology. This is a myth. Now, who knows that Krishna showed that universal form? It might be somebody's imagination that they are described like that. So, what is the proof that Krishna had that universal form? Which sounds like a very impractical thing. So, now how do you refute this kind of claims that this is mythology? Unless you see, you don't believe. But then Prabhupada gives the argument that everything you cannot see. What is our power to see? What is our ability to understand? We cannot understand so many things even in this material world. There's so many different, material laws which governs from micro to macro in this universal uh, affairs. So, with our tiny intelligence, even with the advanced technology and all that advancement of all this scientific knowledge, there's so many uh, things in this universe which is still a mystery for even the great scientists. Like they're not understood what is time, what is space. They have no clear understanding of these simple things. So that is very difficult to understand the descriptions like the universal form. So Prabhupada explains, yes, we should not claim ourselves that unless I understand, unless I see, seeing is believing, so I don't believe unless I see. This is not the way to learn this knowledge. This knowledge has to be received through the authority and has to be accepted as based on the authorities. And there are different kind of authorities. One is the material authorities, like our material scientists and all those kind of things. But ultimately, the real authority, absolute authority is our scriptures, the Supreme Lord Himself, or Shastras. They're the authorities. So when we read the scriptures under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, and then we try to understand some of that we can really grasp. We may say that, oh, yes, it makes sense, but most of it may not make sense to our tiny intelligence. But still, we should accept based on this authority. So, because we are very, very tiny, our perspective, our intelligence, our limited, abilities to grasp the things, senses, the four defects which has been described in the scriptures, that our senses are imperfect. We all commit mistakes, and then we have all cheating propensity, and then There's one more. So yeah, we are prone to be illusioned, right? So with all these defective senses and all these limitations, it's very difficult to understand certain things. So it is very difficult to understand this kind of description and description like universal form. So we accept the authority, right? So there is a protection. There is actually Shastra explains, Prabhupada explains in the Ishopanishad that there are three different ways of acquiring the knowledge, any kind of knowledge, either it is material knowledge or it is spiritual knowledge. So material knowledge can be acquired by different ways. One is the pratyaksha pramana, like through the sense perception. If I see, I believe. But then there are four defects. So seeing is also defective. So if we are too much, we are relying on our sense perception. Our senses are limited, imperfect. So how much we can understand? So this pratyaksha pramana is a defective way of acquiring the knowledge. Then second is anuman pramana. Anuman pramana means uh, the inference, knowledge through inference, or you just imagine, you speculate something. Oh, I think it might be like this, it might be like that. So one can imagine, but that is also not the perfect way of acquiring the perfect knowledge. That is not the right way of acquiring the knowledge. And what is left for us? How do we understand? So then it is said, Shabd Praman. Shabd Praman means hearing from the authority, is hearing from directly either from Krishna or Krishna's representative, a bona fide guru who is coming down in the disciplic succession, in the Guru Sishya Parampara. So Krishna has been accepted the authority by all the scriptures. Brahmaji accept Krishna as an authority. Lord Shiva accept Krishna as an authority. Indra accepts, Varuna accepts, Chandra accepts, Agni accepts. Everybody accepts that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, Supreme Authority. And Krishna himself says that yes, I am the Supreme Authority. So hearing from Krishna in Bhagavad Gita what Krishna is speaking through a representative of Krishna, and that is how we accept the knowledge. So it may not possibly fit into our logic, but still we don't call it mythology. These are all absolute truth. This is Param Satyam Dhimahi. So all these kind of descriptions. So this is also another point that we can understand here. So this universal form is a very special form, and as Prabhupada is writing here, it is temporary, though it is transcendental. And there are different five different episodes are being recorded in the scriptures where Krishna showed this universal form to different devotees. So first of all, Krishna showed this universal form to Mother Yashoda, and in fact, he showed this form to Mother Yashoda two times. One time when Mother Yashoda was trying to feed Krishna, and Krishna kind of yawning opened his mouth, and then Yashoda Mai could see the entire universe in the mouth of Krishna. So that is like he showed the universe inside the mouth. And another time that Krishna one time ate the mud when he was a small child. And then Balramji, he complains to Yashoda Mai that Krishna is eating dirt. So Yashoda Mai was asking Krishna that, did you eat? Krishna was saying, no, I did not eat. And if you don't believe me, then you can check my mouth. And then Yashoda Mai said, yes, show your mouth. And Krishna opened the mouth. And that is when again Krishna showed the entire universe. In the mouth, Yashoda Mai could see, innumerable planets and universes. And in one of the planet, she could see that she herself was there inside the mouth of Krishna. So this happened. There's another episode happened in the Mahabharata that Lord Sri Krishna, he went to meet the Kauravas, especially Duryodhana, as a Shanti Dut, carrying the peace proposal before the battle of Kurukshetra. And he wanted to propose that should avoid this fight and settle with something without even fighting unnecessary. Why so much bloodshed is not needed. So when Krishna went to Duryodhana with this proposal, this Duryodhan, such an impudent person, that he thought that who is this Krishna and why he is coming with this kind of proposal. I don't care about his proposal. And his impudency was that he ordered his soldiers that arrest this Krishna. Unlike that, first of all, Krishna laughed heartily. Look at this foolish person. He's trying to arrest me. He's trying to capture me. And then to bewilder this Duryodhana party, Krishna expanded himself and showed this universal form. That Duryodhana right there, he could see, there's thousands and thousands of arms and the heads and like that. So he showed there. In fact, it is described in the Mahabharata that when this Dhritarashtra he heard about that special form, he requested Krishna that I also wish to see that form. So temporarily, that momentary Krishna gave the vision to Dhritarashtra. So in fact, Dhritarashtra also could see this universal form of the Lord. But this is something very interesting to note here. Despite all that, they got bewildered like Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra, and all of them. But this demonic mentality like that, they're dumb-headed people. You know, despite seeing that form, they could not understand Krishna's position. So this is the difference between a devotee and a demon. Demon, if Krishna shows also that I am God, still they are not able to accept or to understand that Krishna is God. They want to be in their own illusion. They have their own reasons and explanation that how he is not God. Demon job is always to deny the existence of God. So this Duryodhana party, despite seeing Krishna's universal form, and it was quite evident that Krishna is not an ordinary person, he is the Supreme Lord. Still, he could not step back. He did not, you know, withdraw from fighting the battle. He did not accept Krishna's proposal as like the peace proposal. Right? This is what is the demonic nature, demonic mentality. So he showed this, and it is said that this form, which was shown to Duryodhana, was not the full-fledged universal form. It's a partial universal form which was shown to this Duryodhana. And later, at this point, just before the battlefield, when Arjuna was confused and all this discussion between Krishna and Arjuna was going on, it became famous as Bhagavad Gita. So during that time, in the 11th chapter we are reading now, Krishna showed the full-fledged universal form to Arjuna. So this is the fourth time that Krishna showed that form. And then there is a fifth and the final revelation which has been described in the Mahabharata in the Ashwamedha Parva. That how after the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna, he was traveling back to Dwaraka. So on the way, there was one of his old friend. His name was Uttanka. And so Krishna stopped there and he thought, okay, we'll just spend some time, talk to him and all that. But, when the discussion, when Krishna was explaining about this Mahabharata and all this happened, somehow this Uttanka, he couldn't appreciate any kind of criticizing and condemning Krishna for that. And then this argument became very heated argument. And in the heat of the moment, this Uttanka, he said that because he was a great yogi, he's a mystic yogi, said, Krishna, I'll curse you, you know, and like that. Something he was threatening Krishna. So then Krishna said that you cannot curse me. All this curse and all that doesn't work upon me. So don't think of doing that. So this Uttanka doubted that Krishna was powerful enough to even avert the curse. So he challenged him. Do you think like you are something great or what? What do you think yourself? That you are the source of his entire universe and like that. And if you think like you are something like that, then why don't you show me something? And at that moment, Krishna showed him this universal form, the same universal form which was shown to Arjuna, right? And that the Uttanka came to his senses and he pleaded and he begged forgiveness from Krishna for not recognizing, not understanding his position like that. And then he worships him and then pacify Krishna. And Krishna, in turn, also gave him the benediction. And the benediction was given to him was that whenever you want, anywhere in any place you want, there will be water for you. So this is the kind of benediction because Krishna, he knows present, past, and future. So he knew the future of this Uttanga also. And that is why he gave this benediction that you will never go thirsty. In any place you can get the water. And later it is described that this Uttanga was stuck one time in a desert and he was feeling extremely thirsty. And that time he remembered Krishna's benediction and that he could invoke the water and then quench his thirst like that. So these are all different occasions where Krishna revealed his universal form. So here Krishna start to explain Pashchame Partha Rupani Shatusvat Sahasrasaha Nana Vidani Divyani Nana Varnakriti Nichaha. So behold my opulences, O Arjuna, and there's hundreds and thousands of varied divine forms, multicolored like the sea. And then there's a description of this universal form now. And going forward in the verses, we'll see that how Arjuna could see each and everything uh, in this universal form. Okay, so this is the beginning of manifesting this universal form. Okay, so these are some of the thoughts on this verse. Anybody has any question or any comment, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, if there's no question, we'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.